Have you ever wondered why Africa looks the way it does on modern maps? Why borders seem strange, divided, unnatural? Well, there's a reason for that, and it's a story most people were never taught. Today, we're exploring the real African map, not the colonial version, not the simplified textbook version, but the Africa that existed before Europe carved it apart. An Africa with empires, trade networks, super cities, and international borders far older than anything in Europe. This is the African map they don't want you to see. One before the scramble. When most people imagine ancient Africa, they think of isolated villages or empty deserts. But that's because modern maps hide something important. Africa had its own borders, nations, kingdoms, and political systems, long before Europe even existed as a concept. Scholars estimate that over 10,000 unique political entities existed in Africa before colonialism. Yes, 10,000. Not tribes, not primitive groups, but organized states with armies, laws, and economic systems. Here's the biggest secret. Africa didn't have random borders. It had natural borders, based on rivers, mountains, languages, and trade routes. These were functional, peaceful, and logical. The borders you see today, those were drawn in 1884 in Berlin by Europeans without a single African present. But before that, Africa was a map full of color, civilization, and complexity. Two African regions before European maps. To understand the real map of Africa, let's look at how the continent was organized by Africans, not Europeans. 1. North Africa, home of Carthage, Numidia, and later great Berber dynasties. This region connected 3 continents through massive trade networks. 2. West Africa, a powerhouse of gold, salt, and scholarship, home to Ghana Empire, Mali Empire, Songhai Empire, and legendary cities like Timbuktu. 3. Central Africa. The Kongo and Lubalunda civilizations ruled through diplomacy, trade, and metallurgy. 4. East Africa. The Swahili coast, Kilwa, Axum, trading with China, India, and Arabia long before Europe. 5. Southern Africa, home of Mapungubwe, Great Zimbabwe, and advanced kingdoms with stone architecture and vast trade routes. This is the Africa that never appears on school maps. For the empires they erased, let's zoom in on the civilizations that dominate the real African map. When the Ghana Empire, not modern Ghana, one of the richest states in world history, controlled the gold trade, had armies of 200,000 soldiers, was known across Europe and Arabia. 2. The Mali Empire, led by Sundiata and later Mansa Musa, stretched across 500,000 square miles. Timbuktu became the Harvard of the medieval world. 3. The Songhai Empire, the biggest empire ever in African history, bigger than Western Europe. Had ministries, laws, schools, and a complex taxation system. 4. The Kingdom of Kongo, spanned multiple modern countries, had centralized government, diplomacy, and trade systems. 5. The Swahili city-states, smart, wealthy coastal cities, Kilwa, Mombasa, Zanzibar, Lamu, traded with Asia centuries before Europeans even knew they existed. These empires had borders just like modern nations do. They were organized, wealthy, scientifically advanced. But in 1884, all of this was erased. For the Berlin Conference. Here's the shocking part. In 1884 to 1885, European nations met in Berlin. No Africans were invited. Not one. They pulled out a blank map of Africa and said, "Let's divide it." So they drew straight lines, through kingdoms, through ethnic groups, through families, through trade routes, through ancient borders. They ignored everything that made Africa function smoothly for thousands of years. These borders cause problems to this day because they were never meant to work. They were designed for one purpose: extraction, not community, not stability, not cooperation. And this is why the African map they show you looks chaotic, because it was designed to be that way. The real African map. Now let's reveal the map most people don't know exists. A map of Africa before colonialism. A map showing Indigenous ancient empires, indigenous borders, yet trade routes, better cultural regions, linguistic zones. It's in a pre-colonial nations. This map is colorful, organized, and full of life. It shows a continent that wasn't waiting for Europe, but was thriving long before Europe even knew Africa existed. This is the map historians don't teach. This is the map that changes how you see the world. So what happened to the real map of Africa? It wasn't lost. It was replaced. On purpose. Because if people knew how advanced Africa was before colonization, many stereotypes would fall apart instantly. But now you know the truth. Africa had nations, cities, universities, and empires, long before the colonial borders. This wasn't a dark continent. It was a golden continent. And the real map proves it. If you want more untold African history, hit subscribe. There's a lot more they never taught you.